Breaking. Welcome to today's news. Here is the headlines. Pressure on Tinubu as Igbo elders make shocking demand over Nnamdi Kanu. Pressure on Tinubu as Igbo elders make shocking demand over Nnamdi Kanu. To my dear listeners from wherever you're listening from, please stay tuned as I read today's news, and please do ensure you like, subscribe and share. Now the details. The United Igbo Elders Council (UNIEC), representing Igbo elders on a global scale, has presented a 5-point agenda designed to promote peace and development in Nigeria. According to UNIEC, the country must undergo significant restructuring to achieve meaningful progress, starting with the immediate and unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The council stresses that Nigeria should no longer tolerate terrorism and should lift economic blockades that have adversely affected eastern Nigeria. This includes reopening historical ports that were operational before colonial times, extending from the eastern region to Lake Chad and the Gulf of Guinea. The proposed governance, modeled by UNIEC, advocates for the revival of the Eastern Pole of development. This entails reinstating semi-autonomous import and export zones in the coastal south, which were historically connected to those in the riparian north. The aim is to stimulate industrial growth and alleviate poverty in these areas. Additionally, UNIEC calls for an end to the ongoing clashes between farmers and others, which have significantly disrupted regional stability. UNIEC's agenda includes recommendations for regionalism and referendums as part of Nigeria's restructuring process. They argue that such measures would contribute to greater stability and peace. By reopening the port in the eastern region, UNIEC believes that economic development will be stimulated across the region, counteracting the current economic hardships caused by the blockades. The council criticized the federal government for its failure to effectively address terrorism and conflict. They highlight the government's approach as exacerbated tensions, and they demand an end to unlawful detentions and extrajudicial killings, particularly concerning political prisoners like Nnamdi Kanu. They argue that the continued detention of such individuals undermines national values and justice. UN IEC also proposes a restructuring of Nigeria's political and economic systems to ensure equitable development. They argue that Nigeria's progress is hindered by flawed political foundation. The Council believes that their proposed changes will enable every Nigerian group to contribute to the nation's collective development and help heal existing divisions. Their vision is for restructured Nigeria where trade, travel, investment, and modernization can thrive, ultimately benefiting all regions and ethnic groups. The United Igbo Elders Council (UNIEC), representing Igbo elders on a global scale, has presented a 5-point agenda designed to promote peace and development in Nigeria. According to UNIEC, the country must undergo significant restructuring to achieve meaningful progress, starting with the immediate and unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The Council stresses that Nigeria should no longer tolerate terrorism and should lift economic blockades that have adversely affected eastern Nigeria. This includes reopening historical ports that were operational before colonial times, extending from the eastern region to Lake Chad and the Gulf of Guinea. To my dear listeners,